Hello everyone. Hope you're doing great today. So this is Motorsport Progression and I'm back again with another video. So I just want to talk about the 2025 Mexican Grand Prix that happened on the 26th of October in Mexico City, and exactly what happened in the Grand Prix. So the Grand Prix was one of the more exciting, Grand Prix races of the season because there was, with including that Grand Prix, there was only five races to go in the World Championship. So Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen are fighting for the World Championship. Obviously, the McLarens have had the upper hand all season, but Max Verstappen was creeping along slowly, coming back at them slowly. So McLaren had to arrest the situation and do something about it. Now, after the qualifying session, Piastri was starting, I think, in ninth. I think he was starting in ninth position, and Max was starting in about, I think, fifth position. So it was a little bit of a struggle for Piastri and Verstappen, and Norris was starting on pole position, so he had a clear view, and he had a really really fast car, and his performances was on top. He was on top form during the weekend. So the race started, Norris got into turn one first, yeah. And behind him was a lot of chaos. Surprisingly, Max was on the medium tire, but what happened is Max had a very good start, and he came alongside the Ferraris because it's a long run to turn one. He came alongside the Ferraris, but he had nowhere to go because Lewis was lined up with Leclerc, and then Max came alongside both of them. So Max had to take the escape road. He ended up coming back on the track ahead of, I think, Lewis, and I know he came ahead of Leclerc or something like that, and he gave the place back. And him giving the place back, that helped Verstappen not to get a penalty, for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So Verstappen got away with it in the first turn, and there was chaos. The race settled down. After the race settled down, a few laps into the race, Norris was still leading. He led from lights to flag. So Norris was still leading. His gap was about 1 second, then maybe 1.3, 1.5, 2 seconds. He was just creeping up slowly, and then towards the middle of that stint, he just kept extending it to like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. So Norris uh Norris opted for a one stopper. Charles Leclerc came in really early. He was in a two stopper. So his race was a little compromised there. And Lewis as well came. Lewis as well had a. So Max was creeping onto Lewis, and Max basically overtook Lewis, and Lewis kind of barged him off a little bit. I think it was a racing incident, but in turn four, Lewis went off, and then he took the escape road, but he did gain an advantage. So what happened is he got a 10-second penalty, so that kind of took Lewis out of the podium positions. He could have had either a third or a fourth. So the chaos between Lewis and Max towards the end of the first stint allowed Oliver Behrman to overtake, both of them, and went into fourth position. So Behrman was in fourth position in the Haas, which was very, very surprising. But when Behrman got into fourth position, he drove so brilliantly, man. He drove so brilliantly, to keep that fourth position. He drove so well, man. So I was very, very impressed with Oliver Behrman. So shout out to him for that one. He drove so well. Kept out of trouble. He kept the two Mercedes behind him. They couldn't overtake him, and it got to a point where after the first round of pit stops for the Mercedes, Russell was on the radio pressuring Mercedes to allow Kimi Antonelli to come ahead of him. So to go ahead of Kimi, because he wanted to challenge, Behrman for the position. So Russell ended up pressuring the team. They allowed him. He said, "Look, I'll give the position back if I cannot overtake." So they allowed him. So in the end, Russell could not overtake Behrman. So a few laps towards the end, he had to cede the place back to Antonelli. So fair play to George Russell on that one. and Max went for one stopper, which was one of the best strategies he could have hoped for. So he stopped on about lap 37 and came out, lap 38. He came out lap 38, and what happened is Max had pace, on the soft tire. So Max was creeping up, creeping up. He overtook. I remember he overtook Oliver Behrman for for third position, and then he ended up overtaking. He was very, very close to Charles Leclerc, but towards the end, Carlos Sainz had a stopped near towards the end of the lap. He stopped in one of the spots, but it wasn't really a hazardous to the track. But the virtual safety car came out. So when the virtual safety car came out, there was Max couldn't overtake Leclerc. So it was. Max could have overtaken Leclerc maybe in the last lap, but it depends what kind of a fight that Leclerc put up. It could have been he could have got pushed off or anything like that. So it was one of them ones where Max, was a little bit unlucky, but he was also very lucky because he had two major incidents in the race that could have ended his race, but he ended up still collecting 15 points and getting on the podium. And he did close up on Oscar Piastri because Piastri finished in fifth. So he took another 5 points out of Piastri's championship lead. And he only lost 10 points to Lando, So, fair play to Max on that one. Lando Norris drove from lights to flag. He won the race by 30.324 seconds. So Lando didn't have a challenge the whole race. And Leclerc tried his best. Leclerc tried his best to finish in second position, then collect the 18 points, and then Max Verstappen finished in third. Yeah. Then in fourth position you had Oliver Behrman. He had 12 points. Then in fifth position you had Oscar Piastri. He had 10 points. Then in sixth position you had Kimi Antonelli, who had 8 points. Then in seventh position you had George Russell, who had 6 points. Then in eighth position, you had Lewis Hamilton, who had 4 points. So the 10-second penalty did really hurt Lewis. So so Lewis would have finished maybe fourth or fifth or sixth, without a 10-second penalty and being stuck behind other drivers and stuff like that. He could have finished maybe fourth or third, or even fifth, or what I mean, between third and sixth, Lewis could have finished, but he just unlucky for the 10-second penalty. Then in ninth position, you had Esteban Ocon in the Haas. He collected 2 points. And then in 10th position, you had Gabriel Bortoleto in a kick Sauber. He collected 1 point. So in 11th position, you had Yuki Sonoda. Then in 12th position, you had Alexander Albon. In 13th position, you had Isaac Hadjar. In 14th position, you had Lance Stroll. In 15th position, you had Pierre Gasly. In 16th position, you had Fabio Colapinto. And 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hulkenberg, and Liam Lawson, they all had DNFs. So, unlucky for them in that race. So it was a good race. It wasn't a challenge for the lead of the world championship, but it was a challenge for second position, third position, even fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. And Piastri did do well by passing. I think Piastri made a good move on. I think the two Mercedes, yeah, or Antonelli, or one of the Mercedes. He put a good move on, so it was a salvage weekend for Piastri, and he will be looking to pick up his performance for the next race, which is the Brazilian GP. And anything can happen there. It could rain, and then you have the Las Vegas GP after that. But Piastri, really and truly, Piastri he should have been going towards wrapping up the championship at this point. So if he will be very disappointed in himself if he allows Lando to come and snatched the world championship from him. So now Lando leads the world championship by 1 point, and he from Oscar Piastri, and then Max is about 37 points down on Lando. So it's all to play for. There's four races left. So you got Las Vegas. So you got Brazil, Las Vegas, Qatar, and then Abu Dhabi. So it's gonna go to the final lap. It's gonna go to the final lap here. So yeah, peeps, man, I really enjoyed the Grand Prix. Let me know what your thoughts and your opinions are on the Grand Prix. Did you see the Grand Prix and what did you think of it? So yeah, peeps, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your support. So I just want to say to everyone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a video. Like the video as well because it helps the algorithm for other people to see it. Then you can also drop your comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Mexican Grand Prix, the incidents throughout the race, the championship battle and also the race battle and the battle for the podium positions and the other positions. And also, if you got any questions about Formula One in general, feel free to ask me and I will answer you back. And also, you can share the video on your various social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and so forth and so on. So yeah, peeps. I just want to say thank you everyone for supporting the channel. I really, really appreciate it. And it was a good Grand Prix. If you have the chance, go back and revisit and watch it. So yeah, peeps. I'm gonna move on to the next one. So yeah, peeps. Thank you.